Hello and welcome to another Every Nation Commentary. It's a commentary for September 2023. I'm your host, Zach.
I'm your co-host, Chris.
And we have a special guest this month, Chris from Radio of Horror.
Hey.
And so this month Saw X is coming out, which is the 10th Saw movie, believe it or not.
Hey.
And it's taking place between Saw 1 and 2. So we thought we'd refresh ourselves on the movie that this Saw X is apparently leading into, which is Saw 2. So we're jumping back. I guess arguably the best Saw movie. I mean, the first one and this one are probably like up there is like battling it out for the best Saw movie, but 2005.
It's better than Saw 7, where they retconned this whole film out of existence, but I digress.
It gets weird, and then the last two have been so bad, but hopefully Saw X. We're recording this before Saw X comes out, so we don't know how that movie is. Hopefully it's some sort of return to form to the franchise, but yeah, we're watching it on Prime Video, but you sync it up wherever if you have the DVD or Blu-ray or however you want to watch it, but we are at 0 right before the classic Twisted Pictures logo comes up. So if you want to sync it up and get that in place, and then I'll give a countdown and we'll get started here. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. So I guess it had like different logo back like 2005.
I guess they were testing new things.
Cause it's like the super elaborate like gate, like it's literally like a gate that like opens up now.
Huh.
That was later.
Mm-hmm. Let's get twisted.
What happened to Twisted Pictures?
I think are they still the company that like does the Saw movies?
I think they just do only Saw movies.
Right, but there hasn't been a Saw movie prior to Chris Rock's film since 2017 when the Saw prequel came out. Which spoilers for Saw 9.
Spoiler!
The spoilers for Saw 8, it's a prequel to the entire franchise.
Yeah.
But so is the new Saw movie coming out. If you've seen the trailers, FYI, it's also a semi-prequel because it explains Jigsaw's like cancer treatment, and all the people he's going to kill in this movie are all people that were involved in the scam against him with cancer. So, I mean, that's in the trailer and whatever. But I guess they did do Spiral, so they are doing Saw X, so they are still around. They are at Lionsgate's like properly. Their parent company is Evolution Entertainment, which I don't know what that is, but I mean, so I guess they're still around. I mean, Lionsgate's not exactly like pumping out horror movies like the way they were in 2004,
No.
but they did acquire a bunch of like, what do you call them? Labels that they own, like Vestron Home Video, which pumps out a ton of classic horror movies. Mm-hmm. Most recently, one of their films just came out is My Best Friend is a Vampire.
I feel like that's one of those like movies you end up watching when you're like a little drunk on streaming.
What's your timestamp right now, FYI?
2:18.
Are you behind?
I believe. Yeah. I don't understand why.
Well, at this point in the movie, you see this guy shirtless in classic Jigsaw is explaining the rules.
Yeah, and it won't let me advance the film.
Want to speed run how fast and grab that DVD and get past it for the open credits?
I don't know where that DVD is. I mean, I'm at the. It's doing his explanation about Live or Die.
That's where we are.
Okay, so maybe your timestamp is different than mine.
like 3:20 now.
And he's freaking out. He's pulling cables out.
And you just started the countdown because he didn't
but...
listen to anything.
If we're in the same watch party, I don't understand why mine's different.
Okay, so this is interesting. From at least up until certain parts of Saw, like Saw 8, Final Saw, they explain that like a surgical doctor did this. Like Jigsaw doesn't have the skill to do the insert a key in an eyeball.
Yeah, Carrie Elwes did this.
Yeah, and Amanda is too small of a woman, and I've met Shawnee Smith. She's too small to carry people over her shoulder.
Yeah, she's not strong enough to carry like fully grown men, and like I get it. Like she could still be a mastermind. There's still a chance that she could have been the like heir to the legacy. But I would rather watch a new Saw movie that makes sense, where they can make more, not just like period pieces.
Yeah, it's like, what are they gonna do after this?
You got jam more into the timelines. Well, this takes place between like 6 and 7. Like,
yes, like Jigsaw goes on vacation somewhere, and then he's like, "Oh shit! Like I'm getting ripped off on my resort fees."
Yeah, that's the hotel staff.
Well, what is it? What was it? One of the Saw films, like his wife was involved.
She was going at. She allowed the insurance company he was trying to punish because they weren't paying for all of his cancer treatment, and like Saw.
What
7?
cancer treatment, according to Saw X?
Well, like his insurance company's policy was like, yeah, like you're a lost cause, and he's just like, oh, you're. But like then they also didn't pay out like on a fire thing, like
right.
Yeah. So then like his like whatever provider that he was using, like he basically punished Geico, and then like that was the thing. Like his wife had to help him because at that point his cancer was very advanced.
Yeah, we were talking about like around like 5 or 6, it kind of gets like his like Jigsaw's like vendettas because people are like getting like just more like weirdly just like societal issues. So he's just like, smoke, you were smoking. Like,
well, he like punished a fat guy for being fat. Like that was crazy.
Yeah.
In like the first movie.
You like to eat all you want.
The best victim of the Saw franchise was what's her name? She was on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Christine Carpenter?
She played Darla. She's in one of the Saw films, and she's like incredibly resourceful getting out of the traps.
I gotta like find out who Darla is, because I'm thinking like who's actually good at getting out of these traps? Because we're gonna find out in this movie, a lot of them are not.
Well, this is also one of the only 3 things I've ever seen Dina Myers in, because she was like famously hot in Starship Troopers for a lot of things, getting like naked and then getting killed, and then of course she was Barbara Gordon, aka Oracle, in the Birds of Prey shit-tastic suit, which was awful. And she was also in I'm sorry, she was also in well, she was in this, but she was also in a movie called Bats, I think.
I've never seen Bats. Like I've always seen it in like I saw the DVD a lot in like Blockbuster.
Yeah,
the poster is very iconic. It's just like a screaming logo. Bat monster.
And giant demonic.
Yes.
Yeah, it has a logo that's like upside down, so it says stab.
So, yeah, you're right. Julie Benz was Darla. And
yes,
then
and she's
the one in Saw
5.
5?
That was the one where
5?
they. That was the one where they were like supposed to be like a team and they were a team. like
right.
It falls
and also
apart
the winner of the Become a Scream Queen contest, the first winner, she was the black victim in the 6th Saw movie, I think, and then she's like returns in 7, showing that she had to chop off her own arm to live.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because she's in that self-help group or whatever.
Yeah.
That contest was awful. There was some nobody was good in it. She won by however reason. I mean, she like rises from this like scene where she's supposed to be rising from the swamp, like I want to live, or she attacks. She's in this really uncomfortable like makeout scene with Michael Rooker. She's supposed to be a vampire trying to seduce him, and it was like, oh, man, the acting in all of this is uncomfortable. And watching Michael Rooker trying to be seduced by a woman 40 years younger than him is not okay.
I was uncomfortable with him like eating meat in Slither, so I can't imagine like older than that and then just like trying to like put the moves on someone or like get seduced by. Like, he's a nice guy, don't get me wrong, but it's just like
But it was supposed to be like a seduction scene as part of like the game contest, and she won. Anyway, she was not great, and I've never seen her in anything unless I've just not watched stuff that she's done. But again, Dina Myers is in this. This is the highlight of the movie for me. So because she was, as terrible as Birds of Prey was, she was.
She makes a good Barbara Gordon, like in like hot. The time period. Yeah.
And she looked good in the Batgirl costume too. If you go to her convention, she has photos of her in the Batgirl costume, which is like, it fit her like a glove.
So I met Dina Meyer at like Monster Mania in Jersey, and they had a Saw like a semi reunion. It was her and like a few of the like the main guy. It was the like the guy that actually became the like Bell? The hair. What'd you say?
Tobin Bell?
No, wait, I think he was there.
Yeah, Tobin Bell was at Rock and Shock with me one time, and somebody asked him about like how does it feel to be a horror actor, and he's like, I never saw myself as a horror actor. I see myself as being an actor. And he had like some speech about like acting. He doesn't like to like classify people as just being like one kind of genre acting. And I'm just like, I mean, you look at Julia Roberts, she's always going to be known for like, yeah, she's won a few Academy Awards, but she's a drama queen, not in a bad way, but she's like a scream queen, but a drama queen.
Literally,
that's how I mean, like drama queen, scream queen, just so people are listening. And that's what she's always going to be known for. I'm not going to remember her for Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson. I mean, Donnie Wahlberg is always going to be second fiddle to his big, his brother,
his younger
brother. Which, by the way, I had a chance to go to a Transformers premiere in Boston with Mark Wahlberg, and I couldn't make it because his brother Richard was engaged to a friend of mine for a long time. And she couldn't make it, and she asked me if I wanted to go to Boston to go to the Transformers premiere, the 4th Transformer movie, the one that he was, Mark Wahlberg was in.
Was that Age of Extinction? I think that one was.
Yes. So, but between this and Donnie's other twisted feature film, which is Dead Silence is obviously the better movie. Obviously, his character is the exact same fucking character, too, in both films.
Mm-hmm. Just, like, schlubby cop.
Yeah. I mean, in this, he's like a vigilante cop, obviously, pins evidence on people that are getting away with their crimes.
And then he went on, like, now he's on Blue Bloods, and it's just the same thing.
He's almost the same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, what was the name of the movie I told you this was supposedly called? This was called prior to becoming a Saw script, kind of like all the Hellraiser fucking movies.
No, you just said that you didn't say the title. You said this was just originally not a Saw movie.
Right, I think it was called The Desperation.
What?
Yeah, the plot line was the same about a crooked cop or whatever who planted a bunch of evidence on like people that are bad to begin with and should go to jail, but he helped like escalate it along.
I mean, I can understand that because like that itself is like messed up. It's like being your own judge, jury, executioner.
Right.
But yeah, this works better as a Saw movie. It works like that's what, but like because of it, it's like too good of a Saw movie that they just never returned to this concept.
So the original film was called The Desperate, not The Desperation. It was called The Desperate.
Makes sense.
And Tobin Bell, by the way, won the 2006 MTV Movie Awards for Best Villain in a Movie.
For this?
Yeah.
He's barely doing anything. He sits in
he's barely in this movie.
Seat.
Well, we see that like lying on the floor for the whole movie, like the first one. But
I saw this movie with on a date with a girl.
Whoa.
We went over to her house and watched it. It was so funny.
I think a friend of mine rented this in college when this came out, and it was like, "Hey, new release." We're like, "Hell yeah!"
If you look in DVD yard sales, DVD antique stores where they have like piles of DVDs or shelves of DVDs, Saw 2 was the biggest selling DVD of the entire Saw franchise.
I could believe that. Like, I definitely see this common. Like, it's always I see like the foot, like that white packaging, and just like it's mostly Saw 2.
I mean, it has shitty reviews from critics, but the movie was a smash hit.
No, it's a fun like movie that like the story is coherent. There's a fun twist to what it is, and it is like the horror element is not just grotesque and a like, oh, they're just gonna mutilate their body. It's like there's always like a small bit of mutilation, but it's like it's like reasonable, It's not like some like Cronenberg, like holy shit, why is this happening? Where like because later on in the series it just becomes that.
Well, it's like Rube Goldberg machines and like crazy elaborate like.
Well, they become like poetic and adult, like less and less in the sequel. And like this is like sort of like it's geared towards that person. It makes sense to do that. And then the rest of the series was just like, I don't know, like this is a freezing machine, like freeze a finger or die. And you're like, oh, okay.
But this one, I was like, this one, like later we'll get to like the pit of needles is just like that's my nightmare.
That I think everyone cringes at. Like, everyone just kind of like, oh god, I never want to be around that.
Yeah, this is a giant pit of needles, and it's not like any sort of like elaborate like machine.
There's no gimmick. It's just this.
Tobin Bell throughout most of this movie looks like the late great Julian Strain, who passed away recently after being found dead. His remains being found dead in a because of a hiking accident he had.
Julian Sands.
Julian Sands.
Julian Sands. I'm sorry, Julian Sands. He looks just like Julian Sands in this entire movie. Like Julian Sands could have played like Tobin Bell's biography.
You know what? It makes me sad. He could have been like young Saw, and it's like, what if John Kramer in his like first? It's like his first like puzzle that doesn't go right. Like, I was a big fan of this series that I fantasized a movie where basically he learns with someone else because his first few traps are just bullshit, like, and then he has to find like another serial killer to improve his thing. Because you can't tell me his first few traps off the bat from no prior experience from a toy maker is just like perfect killing machines.
Well, according to Jigsaw, he like had way more elaborate traps before his like bathroom game. That makes no sense.
I recently just got done talking about Tobin Bell because on a podcast, the Dead TV podcast, because he was a serial killer in the TV series Alien Nation. He played Dr. Death.
I think I was familiar with Tobin Bell from his like one appearance from Seinfeld.
Oh yeah,
he's just in it.
He's also 24. That was like he was like the season 2 bad guy of 24, I think.
He played a guy on the phone.
Well, he was like the rich, like the evil rich guy behind like the scheme of season 2.
Gotcha.
And then he fought Jack, and Jack was having a heart attack the whole time because he got Jack almost died and had to get like adrenaline put into him. So he's like,
I remember that scene.
They were like fighting in like a stadium.
I wonder how Cassie Hack would get out of these traps.
What a bat. kicking through walls, fucking in a miniskirt.
Oh, by the way, we have to re-record the second episode. It is destroyed.
What?
That is why it did not get posted this week. The third episode is fine. It's good. I listened to it, but the second one, the first one you did, which is issue 2. Hey, it's the guy from it's the our one
Final
black
Destination
person in the
dude.
room is right there. The one black gentleman in the room. By the way, I remember mostly from Showgirls. Everyone's got AIDS and shit.
Yes, the friend. He falls in love with the mate with Elizabeth Berkley.
Yeah, and our cute little blonde girl in the blue top with
Seventh
her.
Heaven.
Yep.
Yeah, her. I was just talking to somebody about Seventh Heaven.
It was her breakout, like, hey, I'm an adult actress now, and then it's like she didn't really do anything else after this.
I mean, literally in this movie, she's like, hey, look, so I'm gonna wear like the cutest low cut top, and I'm gonna be in a Saw movie, and then I won't do anything ever again.
Well, I do appreciate Saw 7, where they flash back to this moment of setting up the trap, and they do bring back half the cast to like do some extra shots of them laying on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's why I appreciate Saw's like chronology. Like they were meticulous to like figure out how to explain that. But that fell apart like as soon as the original people left, and then the new people took over and then just did whatever they wanted to do.
I feel sad that this asshole's name is Xavier because that's my son's name.
Is he a big bully too? With
Better
like a tattoo. Wait, but this guy has like a weird tattoo of like diamonds, but it's not like a good diamond.
I'll be with my son on Sunday. We're gonna go to back to TerrorCon, which is the local horror convention, which they have 18 people from the Nightmare on Elm Street movies there, including Robert Englund. And but he's not a fan of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. He's like seen the first one, he was just not interested in it. He's going there to see the two actors from Five Nights at Freddy, the movie. Even though
like
they can't
little girl?
They can't promote Five Nights at Freddy because they're on strike, but they have Five Nights at Freddy shit all over the table.
Yeah, I've heard that. Like
I find that very funny. It's like you can't promote this movie, but it's all over your table. And one of the actor who plays Freddy, the Freddy teddy bear, he's the gangland signed guy in the RV with Tony Stark in the first Iron Man movie. The one thing I never got to ask Shawnee Smith when I did meet her, there's a great photo on Facebook with me and my son is in a backpack on my back like Yoda, and we're with Shawnee in the photo we're taking, and she was like $30, which I thought in 2007 was a lot for an autograph because I was paying like $10 or $20 an autograph at the time, and now fucking autographs are $50 to $100 and goddamn $20. I forgot to ask her. I was like, how much play acting did you have to just play the scene like you were part of the group who's unaware of what's happening, even though you're Jigsaw's henchman, and did you just play it like you would have normally played it, sort of thing?
No, I get it. It's like you want to put yourself in the mindset like you don't know what's going on, but now that we know from what's going on, like crazier things, like, you know, and this is like amazing acting if you think about the in-universe story.
Yeah.
Not only did you survive your initial game, you survived another game, and then you survived this game? Like, what is going on with your Saw apprentices?
Well, I think at this point she was like only in like the reverse bear trap, right? But then she became like his apprentice because
because of this.
Yeah.
This was her final test, but then not really, based on the next Saw movie, which is still bullshit.
A final test, yeah.
Even though it's like some parts might be, you know, forgivable, but it was fun, you know, to just watch like this.
This is also going to be the dirtiest of all the Saw movies, I think. Just everything looks dirty. I mean, obviously the needle is one thing, but what is your timestamp right now, just so we can all make sure we are syncing with people listening?
Almost 24.
Yeah.
24:06 to 10. That's our range.
But yeah, everything just feels dirty because everyone just looks dirty. I mean, everyone just got covered in blood too, but still.
Also, why does Amanda look like she just escaped from like a hospital?
Well, I mean, she's a heroin addict, right, or something?
No, she was. But
yeah, Jigsaw helped kick her of her habit.
Okay. Again, this is all cosplay because she's pretending that she just came out of like a suicide watch thing based on the lie, right? Because it's like once you realize, like, think about this now. I'm guessing what the next Saw movie is explaining. She's already lying about all this, and then she's lying that she didn't play a game because she did already, and so that's like, at least from the, like, I'm guessing for her to fit in to ensure that the game plays like well and to ensure that the kid survives in order for this part to make sense, like it's like a Joker's plan, like, it's like a Dark Knight fucking
yes.
thing, just trying to make sure everything goes off according to plan.
If they ever do an old man Batman story, like, like Michael Keaton, obviously, and Terry McGinnis or something like that, but they brought the Joker back because it's like, why wouldn't because Warner Brothers can't figure out what to do with any other Batman villain besides the Joker. But thank God the Batman was restrained on it very well. Tobin Bell could play the Joker very well.
Tobin Bell, but I think my number one was William Dafoe. Not before the whole photoshopping of him and the Joker makeup. Like, our good friend Joe, like, recognized potential and was just like, William Dafoe is like should be the Joker. Like
William speaking, because this is James Wan's producer. He's the producer of this movie. Darren Lynn Bosman was the director. James Wan, of course, for people not familiar with Saw, what of course just came out yesterday was the trailer for Aquaman and the Lost City. But William Dafoe was confirmed to not be returning to play Velkin or whatever his name is.
Velveeta cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they just couldn't afford him. Like the Amber Heard reshoots probably cost way more money, and they're just like, we just cannot afford.
And they had to edit Michael Keaton out because he's supposed to be in that movie, I think, and then or like some sort of Batman thing was supposed to be in it.
He was supposed to be like
Ben Affleck is supposed to be in it. Once again, playing Batman for one last time.
Really? Like, I honestly thought that Michael Keaton was supposed to be the Batman after all the Barry changes, and I recently watched The Flash like this month, and because I was behind on it, and then when it came to Max, I was like, all right, let me watch it, and then I watched it, and I was like, what is this?
In Aquaman, is it Billy the Puppet that shows up in underwater, or is it Annabelle?
I think that you should do Annabelle. Annabelle like sneaks into like all the other movies that like franchises or
I thought it was Billy the Puppet, but don't forget the Insidious films. In the first Insidious film, there's a chalkboard drawing of Billy the Puppet with the number 8 above his head when the first Insidious movie came out, and that was after Saw 7 had finished the franchise, to indicate there would be a Saw 8 soon. It would be like 5 years before we get it, but still, because there was a big break in the Saw franchise after 7 was just,
Wait,
like, okay, we're gonna end this.
Was Saw 8 the one with like the poster that is like they're building like Tobin Bell?
No,
like I remember one.
8 is Jigsaw.
8 is Jigsaw. 8 is Jigsaw's origin story. That's the prequel movie where at the end of the movie you find out everyone's already dead and it's like this giant prequel. That's the big twist, is that the whole movie's a prequel.
So like they do return to the Saw 2 format because it's sort of like this is happening in the past bullshit, but it's told way worse, like in that version.
And who was the villain of Chris Rock's film?
It was like a guy, some guy who like the cops like wrongfully like killed his father or something. I can't remember exactly what. And then
Chris, did you see?
just what they did to like Samuel L. Jackson in that, with him being like a puppet in like
Yeah.
his veins and being puppets, I was just like, oh god.
So as big a fan as I am of the Saw series, I have not seen that, but Zach has explained the movie to me 3 times because like I keep asking him about it more than I want to see it, and it gets sillier and sillier each time. Where I'm like, what do you mean it's not Jigsaw? What do you mean the puppet's different? What do you mean his voice sounds like something a kid dreams of?
The one thing I do have to give these Saw films is, and I'm not remembering every single Saw film exact detail, but I will give it up that they don't overly sexualize anything in these films. Unlike most horror movies, they will have like gratuitous nudity, gratuitous breast shots, things like that.
You're right. They don't do that. There's no sex scene. There's really like very little nudity if they try to avoid it because it's not
and it's
about
just
that.
cleavage. Yeah, just cleavage. Just whatever.
It's just people without bras and being sweaty, and I'm like, I'm fine with that.
Yes, the girls do not wear bras in these films. Maybe that was their choice. Your body, your choice. But it's just something I do give these films. Now, Darren Lynn Bosman takes over for the next 3 entries, 2, 3, and 4, and he has been on my show. We talked about the Saw franchise, and you go over to Radio Horror's YouTube channel and listen to my interview with Darren Lynn Bosman. I am not good enough to have James Wan on my show, especially because he's Aquaman director right now. So,
let's see how Aquaman does, and then you can see if you can snag him.
I think Aquaman will do very well. I mean, the first Aquaman movie is the only DC film to break $1 billion.
Really?
But they've had a very bad year, so who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, they said out of the DC Universe films, it's the only one to break $1 billion. I think the Dark Knight movies obviously did, but
Joker did too, but that was like a DC Universe movie.
Yeah, that's not a DC. That's not a DC. That's not a DC. That's not a Snyderverse film.
Wait, so like Wonder Woman didn't do that good?
Nope, did not break $1 billion. It made $700 million.
Huh. I know 2 was weird because 2 was like 2 falls apart fast.
2 came out during the pandemic too.
And it was HBO Max stay and date, so.
Chris is going to his own Jigsaw problem.
Have you ever had a Wahlburger?
No.
Yeah, you can buy them at the grocery stores here in New England. So next time you guys come to PAX East, we'll have to hunt down a Wahlburger.
Is there an actual Wait. Depends on which hotel we get. If we have like a kitchenette and Chris just shows up with a pack of Wahlburgers.
Hey, I went to the grocery store and bought some Wahlburgers. Let's watch Dead Silence and eat some Wahlburgers.
Get ready for PAX. No, we got into PAX Unplugged, so we'll be there first. So hopefully it carries over to East.
Half the time I'm wondering if the Saw films, especially in scenes like this, were written by Kevin Smith.
The dialogue gets very philosophical and it gets like morality, but I don't think Kevin Smith deals with that so much in all his movies. He deals with it just sort of like religion. That's where I'm like, okay, it's like, are you a good person because you fear God, or are you like, just a nice person because you're nice? And that's what like Clerks 1 was sort of about. But then
I do love that Jigsaw's like, can I have some water, please? Can I have like some water? I just like, he's so humble because he is dying of cancer, so he might be very sick. And oh, by the way, speaking of Cassie, that bat that Xavier has. So that bat reminds me of that. The reason why I brought up Cassie is because that bat reminded me of Cassie's bat. Which, by the way, Cassie had the baseball bat used as a weapon with thorns or nails in it years before Negan did. So, because
Negan had nails and barbed wire.
Hackslash was created like the same year as The Walking Dead, except for Negan wasn't created until issue like 100.
Hey Zach, you read Hackslash yet?
Yeah, no.
Gotta catch up on us.
Yeah. You gotta wait till Chris and I fix an issue and then record the next couple episodes. So we'll then you can tune in. But the newest issue of Hack Slash is coming out in October, finally November, which is pretty cool. So and the horror convention I'm at, my buddy Ben Goldsmith did a Seance Room Hack Slash crossover. Seance Room is kind of like this. He's got like a Doctor Strange kind of feel to him, but he's not a sorcerer or whatever. He just runs a seance room in a mansion that you go in there and you kind of see you get a seance done and it gives you a really fucked up prediction or whatever. And Cassie and Vlad are chasing down a serial killer and they run into the seance room mansion and there's this great moment where Cassie opens up a door to her like inner thoughts and feelings and she's like, nope. But it's worth checking out. It's one of the best Source Point Press comic books out there. So,
lately, there's not many these days.
Source Point Press, yeah, they're a mixed bag. Did you guys ever read the Saw comic books?
I did. I read like one or two of them, but I didn't finish the series.
Did you play the Saw and Saw 2 video game?
I played the Saw 1, and then I kind of watched Let's Plays of the Saw 2. But Saw 1, I didn't mind the game. I like how it sort of ties in.
I was quite impressed with the fact that we did get Saw and Saw 2 games, considering that video game movie tie-in stuff had really died around that point. You know what I mean? Yeah, we had Peter Jackson's King Kong. I think the Saw 1 and 2 games came out after that, but recently, of course, we have Ash in the Evil Dead video game, as well as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which has been pretty well received. It's got its patch problems and glitch problems, and people are whining and complaining in the group or whatever. And every time someone whines, I say, "Do you want some cheese with that?" People get pissed. I'm just like, "Whatever, man. You're just like complaining."
Wait. Okay, hold on. Let's pause for a sec for other conversations. There's just a dead random person here that, like, who killed this person?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is never explained.
Like, Obi is like this dude, but
I think. Well, here's the thing. Don't forget, Jigsaw's never actively killed somebody.
So, are they gonna explain this in like Saw 11 or Saw 10, where it's like, who's the dead person?
That's gonna be, yeah. We'll find out who this guy is.
Okay, again, is Saw 10 a prequel to this film or a sequel before Saw 3?
It says it's set between the first one and the second one. That's what they said it was. So.
Okay, so yeah, maybe we'll find out who Obi is. It's probably Mark Wahlberg under there.
It's Jordan Knight or some other new kid.
Is it the legacy owner of Saw, wherever like one of the other like apprentices, secret apprentice that failed, pig mask person?
It's Alicia Silverstone, and if you don't get that reference, to tie back to The Crush, which also starred Carrie Elways.
Whoa, she followed him. He had to change careers as a writer to become a doctor to get away from that girl.
I met Alicia Silverstone last year, and I said to her, I would love it if you did a sequel to The Crush today at whatever age you are. She said, thank you for that. And I was like, could you imagine? She's like, that would be amazing. Do you think Carrie would do it with me? I was like...
Well, okay, no offense to both of them, but like, they haven't done anything in a while. Like,
Carrie does a lot of independent stuff. So, and he does.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah. He does. He's been on that book tour for a while with the Princess Bride. From his perspective, which is a huge hit because it's basically just his diary on set. Let me tell you something. I wish I looked as good. I hope I look as good as he does at his age when I hit it.
Like 55? How old he is now?
He's in his 50s.
Yeah.
I could never look past her from her Seventh Heaven role. Jesus.
No, she was like forever into that because she still looks like a teen in here.
Yes. So
there was just like a generic poison they just all got here.
It's like the air system.
It's just like some generic poison that they're suffering from. Because that's like the MacGuffin to get them to do this. Like they all have to get like an antidote.
We don't see it yet, or maybe we will later on, but I'm fine with Billy the Puppet. And by the way, I always thought that was a person in a mask in the first movie, but I'm not a big fan of the pig-headed costume that Tobin or Shawnee or the crooked cop wears, or Carrie Elways wears, or whoever is wearing it, or whatever. That just does not. It's like,
okay. It's such a last minute like design of like, hey, what do we have left in like the spirit of Halloween leftovers? Like, all right, we got a wig and we have a pig mask.
Okay. Hey, if they had just worn the wig and the hood covering the face, and the hood kind of shadows out their face, I would have been fine with that. You don't need that stupid pig mask.
Okay. With the hair.
Was it in Jigsaw that the explanation was like, oh, like he bought, he has some sort of tied like a butcher or like a pig back, like production company, like it was in Jigsaw. I think they tried to explain like why he uses like pigs as like his symbol.
Ooh, barbecue time.
Sort of, but then it still doesn't tie into like him being a toy maker. Like, you know what I mean? I think I talked about it as like a structural engineer. It's like he doesn't build mechanical things of death, yet all his traps are like, sort of like semi-death traps. Like you need like an engineering degree to understand how to make that.
Or just have a couple of bumbling burglars try to murder you as a 10-year-old kid when your family left you at home.
I love that theory. That was a fun theory when that came out.
Yeah, but unfortunately, they're never going to follow through on it because one is owned by Disney and the other one's owned by whoever, Lionsgate or Universal. And then it rates right up there with the theory that Owen from the Jurassic World series was that chubby little kid back in the first Jurassic Park that disrespected the dinosaur, and he grew up to become a huge dinosaur expert because of his bad manners were turned around on him, and he had a better respect for it all. Because all you needed was one line in that movie for him to go, "Hey, we met once." Do you remember?
Yes. And then when they did the team up, they were like, "Who are you?" Like, it was very disappointing.
All we needed is for him to go, "We met once. You changed my life. When you took out this velociraptor claw and sliced my belly open." But alas, we wrote a better movie. Oh, here's the bat again.
Here's the backdraft.
Again, that's Cassie's bat. Him crawling out of that hole, that tiny little hole, reminds me of Jim Carrey crawling out of the anus of the rhinoceros.
Except he just dies from his leg burning.
This editing is the worst in fucking history. Why do we have to have this slow goddamn editing?
Slow-mo, dramatic zoom. I have no idea.
Fucking Christ!
What's the? He's like zoom ins like.
For the listening
it's like a
audience,
music. It's like a '90s music video.
For the listening audience, what is your timestamps?
I'm at 42.
Yeah.
Something.
Perfect. With things like these, you always want to. With things. Okay, so here's the thing: you have to wonder what was going on. What the different atmospheres of the set. And people can always point out, like, what was the atmosphere on set from one scene to the other. This guy was just in a burning furnace, and yes, the actor wasn't probably there, but they probably still had to light a furnace for the people to react around. So the whole area around it would be incredibly hot. However, Shawnee Smith walks upstairs, and she is clearly cold by her nipples poking through her shirt. And there's other scenes in this movie where people, like Tobin right now, is completely dry skinned, but later, like in an earlier scene, Donnie Wahlberg is sweating like crazy. And that's not because he's worried about his son. It's just the way they are shooting it sometimes in different times and splicing the film together don't always sync up very well in terms of the temperature in the area.
I'm also thinking whatever like LA warehouse they were filming in, and then they just have like the spotlight beaming to get the right moment, because like Donnie has not brought like the drama for a while. This is his like breakout reintroduction to like, hey, I'm in a Saw movie, like I'm gonna be a movie star, like like, you know what I mean? Like it this is his Boogie Nights. Last time yelling at his son by a Boston pier. Like,
I just want Jigsaw to start asking him like New Kids on the Block questions. How did you come up with the lyrics for Step by Step?
Yeah, I thought about it. I didn't know that this was the same Donnie Wahlberg. I was watching this like not knowing because I was like, wait,
this is the Donnie Wahlberg from New Kids on the Block?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
it took,
shit.
but like it took him so long that basically a new generation of people know him from Blue Bloods guy, and Wahlberg. It's like it took a while to refresh that term for him.
That's right. He was on Blue Bloods. I didn't watch a lot of that. I mean, though I do absolutely love me some Tom Selleck. That was the Tom Selleck show, right?
Yeah.
Yep. It's still on, I think.
No, it's finally ended after 12 seasons.
It did?
After 2 decades on the air, it's over.
Now I think they do recreate. Okay, so I think they recreate these flashbacks with him with his cancer diagnosis in the new film because I've seen him sitting in a car in the trailer.
Yeah. Because he's like, "Oh, Mexico."
That's he just picked that up. I mean, I granted they're okay. So by the first Saw movie, they do indicate that when that happens, that's not his first game. It's just sort of like the current characters are caught in his latest game in Saw 1.
Yeah, because the guy. There's like Shai Smith was in the bear trap. The guy like had to crawl through like the barbed wire maze and didn't make it through or whatever.
And then the fat guy for being fat.
Yeah.
So there is room to explain that before he got to that, but to hear it's sort of like he got away with it. It's a undiscriminate amount of time since the first movie. Like, because this is explaining his origin, like this part, which I think is explained in the comic too. I was remembering this because it's like his will to live because he wanted to kill himself, and this is his like core memory.
How the hell he survived the rhubarb being ripped out of himself, considering he's already got cancer? He's an old man. I mean,
okay, so there's this confusion between him and his wife because his wife is like at least 15 years younger than Tobin.
Oh my god, yeah, his wife is much younger than him.
So what is going on with that? Like, is he just a terrible looking 40-year-old? Like.
Okay, how does old Ben look like the way he does on Obi-Wan Kenobi the show, and then he turns into Alec Guinness in like another 10 years when Luke and Leia,
right? No idea. Is it space time? I have no. Okay, but that could be space time.
Yeah,
that could be like
forgivable.
They say, oh, it's the two suns. The two suns age you faster. It's like, then why would anyone live on Tatooine?
Faster or whatever. Okay, I can forgive that. Like, space, long time ago, space-time, fine. This is us time. Like, this is us reality. What is going on here?
Dina Meyer's phone, by the way, shows you the age of this film.
Yeah.
If nothing else, it's Dina Meyer's when she was on that phone earlier.
So, one of the earlier con memories I have of, like, trying to be, like, a media person, I met Chris Claremont, the writer of like the famous X-Men arcs, and like I think he also wrote like the first season of The Walking Dead. Explained that like
he wrote the first season of The Walking Dead.
He like helped executive produce, but at least that's what I kind of remember. I'm getting kind of foggy because I was drinking when he explained this to me, but he explained that like technology is the one thing that ruins like horror movies because it's like any horror movie, if you see a cell phone, it's like you can solve a good amount of problems when you have a cell phone. So it's like when you see like as technology advances, like with chat, like AI and then like all these other things, like you find that like you have to be very creative to explain like solutions to like avoid the like obvious. That's why it's like it's really hard for a zombie breakout movie to begin and no one's fucking using their cell phone like right after and be like taking snapshots and just being like, I'm posting this online of this fucking zombie bite or like this fucking like terrible thing happening in my small town. And so it's like these people, they're not freaking out looking for their cell phone. Notice that, right? Like they're not like, hey, like I missed my cell phone or like no one's mentioning that. But if you make a movie like that now, like this, the first thing they'll be looking for or referencing is like some social media bullshit. The girl from Seventh Heaven looks dead already. Right? She's just gone. She's out of the movie.
That poison worked pretty fast on her.
Everyone else is having like an emotional like breakthrough, but she's just dead.
Slumped over in the corner, yeah.
So is Amanda poisoned? Because like I don't expect her. She is not like exhibiting the same like symptoms as everyone else.
Yeah, everyone else got like a fever look to them, and she doesn't.
They're turning into zombies, and she's like, I'm very resilient. Like,
yes, no, I try systems.
Yeah, she's like, no, I try to like, I punish myself, so like I'm fine with poison. Like I poison myself a lot.
Yeah, I also drink a lot of vitamin C, so.
She drinks snake venom and then takes the antidote right afterwards. Like
right, yeah. She Princess Brided herself.
She builds up an immunity.
So this guy, the Xavier dude, I only know him from this and the Italian Job. Like that's all I know him from. And in the Italian Job, his name is Dom.
I just saw that on 4K at Best Buy. Wow, Beverly Mitchell is the same age as me. That is so weird to think about. I thought she was so much younger.
She just looks young.
Yeah, but she was born in 1980, so I don't feel so bad about like being incredibly attracted to her when she was on Seventh Heaven, being the age she was, because I was the same age. So.
Yeah, but like I get that too. Whenever like you think that's like they're too old or too young, and it's like that's your age, and it's just that's the magic of like Hollywood, you know?
Yeah, like Kristen Dunst or whatever. She was only a year younger than me when she did Interview with the Vampire. I mean, she's 42 years old. So. I was seriously in love with Claudia, and someone's like, "That's weird." And I'm like, but then she did Jumanji, and I was like, "That's the same actress from," and she looks like she's a teenager now. There's only like 3 years apart. And then when she was in Spider-Man, that's when I found out, oh, she's only a year younger than me.
No, I get that. That's like the error plus. It's like, oh no, that's like age appropriate. Because you just know that's like that's just who you recognize, you know?
Right. And Beverly still looks fantastic today. She still looks exactly the same.
I don't know. Is it the sun? Is it the water? I have no idea.
Well, it's like, Alicia Silverstone. Yeah, I mean, she still looks tough. She looks like she's 47 or whatever, but she still looks like she is incredibly young too.
Oh,
she's 40. Yeah, she's like 40. She's like only 3 years older than me. So.
Uh-oh, here comes this like incredible everyone can relate part.
Yeah, scariest trap in Saw the entire Saw franchise.
The son, he's Daniel Mathis, right? He's played by this kid Eric or whatever. He still has that gaunt look in his eye as an adult.
He just looks like an adult teen.
Yeah, but I completely forgot he was in Scream 4.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching this scene the first time and just like curling up. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, there's a great behind-the-scenes feature about how they did this or whatever. These are all real, actual syringes, but the needles obviously have been removed. But those are all real syringes with plastic needles, so the needles are not sharp, but they could accidentally hurt her. But they show like the skin grafts they put on her
to do like the stab parts, like
correct. But those are all 100% real needles. Needle tubes. The tubes.
Yeah, I mean, it's still, if you're like swiping like this, you're still feeling that.
Yeah.
She obviously had to do that, to prove herself to Jigsaw. Like Jigsaw was probably like, "So I'm gonna have to drop you into a amount of needles." Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only way to for your cover story to work.
Yeah, I mean, this can't kill you. This like trap can't kill you, right? Like, it's just more like, fuck with you.
Basically.
Awesome glow stick. Worst acupuncture ever.
Wait, so what if they were on time, right? Like, does the door open and they just get out? Like, the game would be over?
And then one of the like 5 saw contingency plans happens. Like,
yeah, what if they decide to crack open the safe that the sun is actually in next to them at the foot level of the desk because they're searching the place for clues?
Yeah, within that first thing, and it's just like, oh fuck, that's my plan. Here's your son.
Your son was here all the time.
There's a lot of YouTube videos that break down these films that really go into like, okay, if they had done this, the movie would be over.
Mm-hmm.
You guys haven't watched Squid Games, have you?
No, I decided to pass on that. By the way, when she says "stop this bullshit," her line read or whatever, her lips say "fuck."
Wait, do they even curse in this movie?
They do.
Okay.
Pretty dark.
I wonder why.
Everyone, remember the what's his name says everyone's got AIDS and shit.
There we go. So I bring that up because Squid Games is another like Saw-like series where it's like traps and games, and then it's like if you lose, you die. It was like the Korean take on a Saw thing,
right?
But with a basic like premise. Because the game is like it's not like you need to be clever. It's just sort of like you need to just be like better than the other person.
Now Dina's character comes back in the 4th one, right? She gets killed off then?
She gets killed off.
Yeah.
Because Amanda wanted to get rid of her because she was getting close to like the truth.
Right. She just out and out murdered her.
And then that was like
it was an unwinnable game.
Yeah, and then Jigsaw was like, "You're not my true apprentice because of that."
You need to preserve life. You need to know what it's like to save a life.
Well, because like I get his philosophy in a really messed up way. It's like you need to give them a chance because when you complete your transformation from like a near-death experience, you appreciate life more. And it's like that was a gimmick, right? Like because he did that. That's what happened to him. Unfortunately, like Amanda at this point has gone through 3 like games of like death things. If you think about it, between the first movie, like the upcoming movie, and then this.
They need to make the movie that just has Jigsaw setting up all the traps or whatever, like, and where he's getting his money to do all this.
Mm-hmm. Like that's what I'm saying. Like he has to do like a test scenario. He has to be like, all right, let me just see how to win this.
And he just snatches some like drunken wino off the street who beat up his wife, and it's just like, you're bad enough. Because don't forget, he's never going after anyone truly innocent. I mean, the exception of Donnie's kid, which don't forget, he's alive, he's in the safe, so he is in a safe place. But everyone else or whatever has usually got some kind of like pretty shitty skeleton in their closet. With the exception of Beverly Mitchell's character, she's just a fucking thief. Like she's a shoplifter.
Yeah.
Like, I thought she was a drug addict too.
I thought she was a shoplifter.
That's the worst crime of all, shoplifting. Do you know how much money is lost from stores every year?
They have to fire an employee. That employee goes home, takes it out on his wife, and then kills himself. He gets like really deep into the psychology as a retail store employee. Oh, this is where he finds out that he's like a dirty cop, or we learned he's a dirty cop, and all these people are involved.
Or no, I think a lot of them are his like
people he arrested.
Covert. Yeah, people he arrested or his or CO,
CIs,
like
yeah.
CIs, yeah.
None of those mugshots look as good as the former presidents.
Yeah, who is Business Suit Dude? Like, what did he do?
I don't remember that. I mean, yeah, he's dead. He blew his brains out by mistake.
Yeah.
Like, what could have he possibly have done?
He was involved in inside trading in the Wolf of Wall Street.
Wow, we are almost done with this movie. It's halfway.
This movie was filmed with the same filter as The Matrix.
It's got that yellow. It's like it's also like the Mexico filter. Like if you're in Mexico, it's like, oh, it's yellow.
Yeah, I noticed that from I watch that Ben Affleck movie.
Oh, yeah, Hypnotic.
Hypnotic. Why are you bonding with this dude? Anyway, here's your Oscar moment of like trying to have like a monologue to explain why you're a good person. At the wrong time. Read the room.
This like psychopath.
Like all this dude is doing is powering up his evil.
You know, if I slam his head against the wall fast enough, I'll kill him quicker.
Damn. I ain't got time for this. Everyone's got AIDS and shit. Again, this and Showgirls are the only two things I know this guy from.
Yeah.
I think he was in Speed 1 and 2.
Was in Speed 1. Yeah, he's one of the bus drivers. Oh, he's one of the passengers on the bus. That's right.
No, not the bus. I think.
You think he's like the dread guy?
Oh
yeah.
Right there in the back of the skull.
Steals the car from.
Right there in the back of the
Keanu
skull.
Reeves. And then on Speed 2, he like is just on the boat.
Yeah, that is a Cassie bat. Because Negan had the barbed wire, Cassie had the nails.
Well, bat with nails is like a take from plank with nails. That was another like classic weapon you would see in things.
He's got a point with a nail in it.
That's always Cassie's like signature weapon. We can't stop. We have to keep going, no matter how much we're dying.
Also, how big is this house? Because in other Saw movies, this house is like in a basement. Like it's like in a warehouse. It's like really.
Yeah. The game right before this was a bathroom. So it's like.
No, the bathroom's here. It's in the same building.
Yeah. This is like. Yeah, it's like the crazy like Saw like giant warehouse of like different silos of different things.
Okay, honestly, like nowadays, this would be a like Universal Studios like House of Horrors thing, and it. I think when Saw had to deal with them, like you can see like a Saw trap.
Oh, this is where they learn about his dad. Uh-oh.
And this obvious Photoshop photo, because the lighting in that photo looks different.
Like, he's showing the most signs of being poisoned. Yes, Beverly is like really dying and like
Yeah.
okay, well now she's like convulsing, but his neck has got like this awful infection going on.
Like, I think about it, she is committing a lot to this role if you think she's in on it. Like, she is triple, like she knows way more than she has to let in. See, Amanda is not exhibiting any of the symptoms. She looks very healthy.
Yeah. She should have at least been like fake coughing, just like I feel bad too. Like,
yeah, rubbing some ketchup on her nose or something, because everyone else is like bleeding for no reason.
Yeah.
Do you, in between these films, I mean, after the first one, what do you think Jigsaw's like paying her?
Well, it's like I think it's like a cult. Like, he's like,
right, but she's got to like survive and have a place to live and transportation. They're not like this isn't like happening the next day. There's like a lot of time passes between the films.
Oh, it's like years.
Well, 3, 4, 5, 6, they all within like a day of each other.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when it gets ridiculous considering like how much they segue into the next one in 4, 5, 6, and 7. It's like, wait, how many traps are set up everywhere?
Think about how much it costs for like buying iron and steel, right? Like if you had to go to like a manufacturer to buy blades and then like anything sharp. So like, is Tobin Bell's character for being a toy maker getting fat royalties from a toy manufacturer
Possibly
to pay for all this, or did he like he didn't have money for cancer treatment? That's why he had insurance problems. So he's not rich because him and his wife opened also a free clinic for like people. Like, is his wife his financier?
Yeah, is Jill rich? Like,
honestly, he just wants to see the number behind his head. If you just said, "Hey, can I just see the number?"
Yeah.
What's up with these photos? What?
It's like album, like the album cover, like, or like
I kind of want to take a screenshot of those later and just post it as like, "Hey, Donnie Wahlberg got like a new album drop."
Donnie and Son.
Blue Bros. I do like how the SWAT team's all about this. Like they've got like an understanding with the detectives. Well, he beats up this cancer patient.
Hey, you can't hit you can't punch a oh, there's a line from Mallrats where he's like, you can't punch a criminal in police custody. He's like, oh, come on, just once or whatever. All right, just this once. And then Jason Lee starts wailing on Ben Affleck. Dude, you should just like kill him and just get it over with.
He's already corrupt. Just give him a gun. Make it fair.
Oh God, Batman wasn't nearly as brutal as he is.
I do appreciate that there is sort of like a modern Riddler thing about this, right? Like based on Riddler, kind of like the new Riddler was kind of inspired by these like riddle clue traps.
This one is like
ow,
just as worse as like the needle one.
Oh, you fucked up, you dumb.
Yeah, you fucked up.
So there's a trap, by the way, in Saw 4 that they plan to use for her, but they decided to go with this instead and save that one for Saw 4.
Well, what's her thing? What was her crime? That like none of this is like sort of related to her. Because usually the traps are like kind of geared towards their sin or something like that, but it's just like it was just hanging there. Her trap was just like, hey, put your hand in here.
Was her crime like razor blade related? Like you stole razors from a drugstore.
Xavier looks like he's just like, I don't know, becoming more entranced with as they're going along. But the shitty cutting that we're getting sucks.
Ooh. This artistic take.
Yeah.
We just don't need it.
How is Mark Wahlberg out of shape from punching Tobin Bell? Like
it's like 5 hours later, Donnie Wahlberg's still beating the shit out of Tobin Bell. Who's hanging tough now?
he has to, instead of like submitting or saying uncle, he's just sort of like game over. All right, like.
How much beating could somebody with cancer get?
It depends on where your cancer is.
I mean, his cancer's pretty advanced.
Well, it's like in his head.
Yeah, it's a brain tumor.
Yeah.
It's a brain tumor, so it's like as long as you don't hit the head, but you can beat him up everywhere else, I guess. But like Donnie Wahlberg went for the face.
He's also doing like chemo, so he's like super weak. So.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. You're like, it's really terrible that like this is happening to Jigsaw, but like he's still able to do all this is pretty amazing for like a cancer patient.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, he does have the assistance.
Of like at least three people at this point, right?
Yes, he has 3 assistants. He has Johnny Smith, he has Amanda, he's got the doctor.
Hoffman.
Yeah, and then he's got his fucking cop or whatever who literally takes over the franchise after the 3rd one.
Yeah.
Until
I didn't mind Hoffman. Costa something like
Costas
he was
Mandylor, yeah.
Yeah, he was good. He made sense later on.
But after the 4th one, it was just like, oh wow, this guy is an apprentice. What? And then in like 5, 6, and I'm just like, by 6 or whatever, he's like getting clumsy and gets cut. And then in 7, they have that support group meeting, and that's where we learn about
all the Saw survivors, which I didn't mind. It makes sense.
Yeah, there are other Saw survivors, which is fine. Tobin Bell looks like hell, but
I like how it's like they're clearly not driving, or it's like they're on like a rig, or like it's like a blue screen or something. Danny Wahlberg's just like moving the wheel. And the bat is the MVP of this movie.
I know, it does a lot of work. You know, they could have dragged the dead bodies and like use them as sandbags in a really dumb way, but it could have worked. Just need wait.
The bat still had pieces of brain attached to it.
Yeah.
Or move the safe against the door.
Yeah.
My mic was on mute. I don't know if you heard me. Is that the same safe he'll get trapped in?
I think
No.
no.
No, I think his safe is like smaller because he's like in a ball. Because that's like a 1920s safe.
What's on his shirt?
It's a band. It's like vague band.
Is the band on the soundtrack?
Probably. Actually, that makes more sense. But like, I'm seeing it's called like the Godless.
The Song 2 soundtrack, by the way, had a score and a soundtrack. You had Marilyn Manson with Impossible Hate anthem, Venus Head Trap Mix, The Used, Sound Effects and Overdramatics, Mudvayne, Forget to Remember, Blood Simple, September, Papa Roach, Blood.
I mean, it was 2005. That was firmly new metal era. So
Pussifier, Rev, 22, Seven Dust, Pieces, Skinny Puppy, Rodent, Queens of the Stone Age, Burn the Witch, A Band Called Pain, Holly, Bucket and Friends, Three Fingers, The Legion of Doom, Home Invasion Robbery, Revolting Cox, Colette, Opiate for the Masses, Step Up, and Charlie Clouser, Don't Forget the Rules. So these were all the bands that were on the soundtrack.
I have not heard any of these.
Yeah, I've heard of like 5 of those.
Yeah, I mean, a handful of those bands are still around, but like there are no songs played. Is it just like inspired by this movie? I have no idea.
There was a Peacock ad playing for something called Sick coming out. That a couple friends during the pandemic decided to go away together, and they encounter some people after them for leaving.
I think Kevin Williamson wrote that movie.
Yeah, I heard it's about basically people who are angry at people who are like not quarantining very well, and they go after them. By the way, the other recommendations for a band for stuff to listen to from looking at the Saw 2 score or soundtrack is the soundtrack to Underworld, the soundtrack to The Crow City of Angels, the Slit by Nine Inch Nails, and Head Like a Hole by Nine Inch Nails.
Okay, so the Crow soundtrack, the Crow 2 City of Angels is like 1999, or like 1997. Wow.
Yeah,
at
least
that's the beginning of new metal.
Yeah, at least Underworld came out in 2003, and this is 2006. Yeah, it's not too far off.
That's like related. Yeah. That's close.
But think about the bands that are on the Saw 2 soundtrack or whatever. Some of them had been around since the 90s, so.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh shit! It is from the first movie.
I think I read they had to recreate the room because they like this is like not the same set. They just rebuilt a set that looked like it.
Okay, right, but the doctor saw through his own foot, so his body wouldn't be there, but the other guy would be. But look how decomposed he is.
Well, that's not that's the other dude who shows up. Like
you mean
the helper guy,
Danny Glover's character.
No, not Danny Glover's character.
The like guy in the bathtub at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right.
So the reporter guy's dead because they showed him by now that Amanda drowned him. Because Amanda's been in this building before. She knows like this layout. Because the other guy on the ground is the orderly that like Jigsaw tricked to help him.
Zep.
This movie went from very green to now very blue.
I like how Danny has to pretend he's like dead.
Yeah.
He's just like asleep.
Yeah. And then we're getting the like, here comes the twist.
Like, check out how hardcore this dude is. grabs like a big part of his neck for this. I mean, for all intents and purposes, Xavier has the will to live. Like, he's not a good guy to do it, but look how like dedicated he is.
Mm-hmm.
The jump cuts back and forth between the two of them is just fucking annoying.
Can you imagine if he didn't cut the right spot? He cuts like a good part of the fillet. Like,
yeah.
So this is all. The thing is, you got to know is like this has all happened like a day or so ago, and Dad is running around trying to find his son, and there's nobody here other than Amanda waiting for him.
in a pig mask.
Yeah. Oh, Xavier's dead. Thank God.
They could have just attacked him. They didn't need like a stealth attack, like a surprise, like Danny's not dead, and then like Danny did that as a way he's done that before.
Danny Wahlberg is so fucking sweaty.
What house did they go to?
I also don't understand how they couldn't figure out that these are all videos they're watching.
It's like a relay house, but it's like also like a trap house. Like they're in. It looks like a crack den. Using VHS tapes.
Was there no way to figure out that about a live feed or not? I mean, it's like, did we have the technology back then to figure out if something was a live feed or not?
Probably.
Yes, because if it's coming through like the internet, whatever streaming technology, because essentially like Jigsaw invented like Twitch. He's like, if you think about it, he's streaming the relay from this house to that other warehouse from like a live VHS, like that's running.
He's dug a super long cable from his like main warehouse to like this house.
Like when these movies came out, I wouldn't be able to understand like how exactly, like did he do the switcheroo, making us believe that it was a live, it was a recorded tape versus a live tape. Today in 2023 with all our technology, it's like, what? So is the 10th Saw film going to take place in 2000 and what would it be?
2005, yeah.
2004. Well, the first one came out in 2003, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's supposed to be pick up right after that. So 2004.
Yeah, 2004 probably.
Yeah, there she is.
Spoiler.
I mean, yeah, that was the big twist of this film, was that it was her working with him. So I'm kind of wondering what the twist will be for the upcoming film, considering,
Oh, you're right. Like, it is the same dumb save from like the 20s that also is like timer locked.
Right. So if he waited around and believed his son may have died from the poison, it would have opened up to reveal that he's in the safe.
So did the son get the antidote? Because I feel like he was still being poisoned. See, like, they explained that, like, he was able to survive this, like, antique vault by just having an oxygen mask.
Yeah.
So, but he was
fine.
cured of...
That's really all you need. If you're unconscious, then you just have the oxygen mask to be fine. Is the voice of Billy the Puppet also Tobin Bell?
Yes.
You can double that paycheck.
In this series, yes, because it's not like a voice modular yet. But the in the next series of movies, it's like a modular thing that like that Hoffman uses.
Yeah, like Roger Jackson or any of the Ghostface killers would use or whatever to make them sound like the original Ghostface.
Yeah.
Which begs the question, is there like audio recordings of what Ghostface sounds like in the Scream films for every other Ghostface killer to know what they sound like? Right?
Oh, okay, so because he sounds the same for almost all those movies.
Right?
So like, what device were they buying that like anyone could buy, to do that?
It's like a phone app, I think, in the Scream universe.
See, this is her therapy. This is like, so it makes it seem like he only tested her from this. It's like, you do this, you'll be my apprentice. I didn't mind this at the time because it made it seem like in the next few movies she's gonna take over. But then like Hoffman's in the same scene too.
Yeah, like you gotta go back and watch 7 to figure out where the hell Hoffman is. So what's next for Saw 11? There's a whole cult of like people doing Saw shit all over the place.
That was the concept of Saw 7 to 8 because it was like now that Jigsaw is like beyond, he's gone beyond the.
Don't forget, 8's a prequel to the whole thing.
Oh, but like 7 was like, okay, now his legacy lives on and everyone else that's inspired by his murders. Like that was the concept that like anyone could be a Jigsaw. But then they dropped that for the 8.
This
and
is
then
like
9 was even dumber than that.
This is what I feel like. If they ever get around to doing another Nightmare on Elm Street movie, they're going to do the Cult of Freddy film finally, because it's something they've wanted to do for quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like a superstitious boogeyman, you're gonna have like cult following, and no movie has done that well yet.
Yeah, I mean, the other child killers out there are going to worship Freddy Krueger. I mean, it's like, okay, that's what you guys want to do, and have the film mostly be about like the cult following, so Robert Englund can pop in for 5 minutes to do his Freddy thing and then leave because he's 70-something years old. I guess that's what we're going to have to do, but you know that movie is not going to make anyone happy.
Nope.
And people are going to be like, well, it's better than nothing, and I'm like, no, I'd rather have nothing.
Well, that's why I'm with some of these Saw movies, and like how beautifully this movie ends. It ends on a great like ambiguous note. It ends on like Amanda is like sort of now the new Jigsaw. It ends with like the protagonist who you think is going to be a big protagonist is like sort of like an anti-hero. So, and now it ends on new metal.
Yeah. We weren't ready for the new Jigsaw.
But that's weird because like Hoffman he didn't oh no like Dan Wahlberg didn't die in like the bathroom. It's like threw him in like the ice. It was like an ice trap or something. Yeah,
in Saw 4, it explains that he gets out of that trap like right after that moment. Like he attacks Amanda, and then it's like he spends at least a year or a year being a captive, and then the events of Saw 4 happen with that one with Riggs, the SWAT guy.
Yeah.
Which I didn't mind Saw 4.
No, I thought Saw 4 followed up 3 pretty well. I mean, they made a big point saying that Jigsaw is dead, but obviously there's something else that we didn't know about. So.
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm thinking Saw 3 or Saw 4. Which is the one where I have to like Google
Saw 3 is the one Saw 3 is where Jigsaw officially dies. He gets the fucking chain. He gets the chest crack. The table saw shoved into his chest. Because the doctor who lost his son or whatever has a choice to make.
Oh, so Riggs is the one that's in Saw 4 then.
The dirty cop. Yeah.
No, he's the SWAT guy. He's the one who like his.
Guy.
Okay, yeah. So his in Saw 4, his crime was that he runs into like crime scenes too quick. Like he doesn't assess the situation. Oh, okay. I'm looking at the blockbuster return on Saw 2 to see how much money this series has made on opening time.
So this, by the way, the song playing is "Forget to Remember" by Mudvayne.
Yeah.
All right. So this movie cost $4 million to make.
Correct. Which is, by the way, is $3 million more than the first one. The first one only cost $1 million to make.
Yes. So again, they bumped it up a little bit. This movie's return is like 140 something thousand. Like, I mean, sorry, 140 million. It's like they were able to like 100 and like I don't know, like 1,000% return on their like 4% investment. Like they made a lot of money on this.
Yep.
Horror movies are always like they cost like a couple million to make and they make like tons of money. That's why they're like.
That's why people can't understand why people are spending. I mean, the Terrifier people have been proven this point now twice because Terrifier 2 cost like what $50,000 to make, and then the fucking thing grossed $10 million or more.
I think more. I mean, if you think
and people are wondering why are we spending ridiculous amounts of money on a horror movie, whether it's zombies or not, which they do not need CGI zombies or whatever. And then you see the tag, like what, World War Z? Yeah, I know they had to fly all over the planet to film it, and Brad Pitt's like a fucking $40 million pay cut or whatever. But you didn't need to do it with Brad Pitt, and you didn't need to like fly to these different countries to show us that you were in those other countries. You could have easily shot that in the backyard somewhere that looks just like that country.
Yes.
I mean, if you know what you're freaking doing, I talked to a ton of independent filmmakers, and they have pointed out to me multiple films that they have watched, being like, why did they have to fly to Jordan to film this? Why did they have to fly to Paris? You could have easily done, Paris like, and cut your budget completely out because you got to film, and then all the catering and all the money and all the everything else that needs to fly out there. And he's like, don't forget, like sometimes you're not even seeing like the bottom line from like the executives that have to fly out there to go on set to make sure everything's happening the way it's supposed to be. And he's like, that's going to change soon, especially this is something he's talking about during the writer's strike right now, an actor's strike. He's like, there's going to be huge changes in Hollywood coming up soon because don't forget, Hollywood is losing crap tons of money. And I'm like, are they? Because there's still fucking movies coming out in theaters right now, and they're doing pretty well. I mean, Oppenheimer and Barbie saved Hollywood this year, and Super Mario Brothers.
Well, let's see who's going to come in and like remind people that sometimes bad investments pay off.
Also, Guardians of the Galaxy was pretty well received, did pretty well too. I don't know what it was versus the other Guardian films, but
it didn't make that much money, but it's still an okay movie.
I mean, it's emotionally, it's pretty good.
No, that was Saw 2.
Yes.
If you stay and watch the credits for more new metal references, I'm pretty sure it's the same bands from 2005, 2008.
Yeah, it's the Stone Age now, so.
Well, thank you guys for having me on. Can I plug where I am?
Please.
Yes.
Yeah, so Chris is going to join me for episodes of Goth Girl Horror, the Hack / podcast, where we talk about Cassie Hack, created by Tim Seeley. I also do the Radio Horror Show on 91.3 FM, WCW in Worcester. We recently just had artist Kelly Jones on the show, and I got a couple of great interviews in the can ready to play, including the writer from the Jason Goes to Hell comic book. This is the 30th anniversary of Jason Goes to Hell this year. And in terms of horror, my show, the Dead TV Podcast, is going to be starting Werewolf the series soon, as soon as we finish out Alien Nation. And also, if you want my own piece of horror, pick up Vlada, A Dracula Tale, Vlada Chronicles of the Damned, Vlada Tales of the Damned, or any other Vlada comic books in the gender swap Dracula universe that I have created, as well as my book about filmmaking. If you want to know about films, called The New England Horror Filmmakers. You can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or bearmedia.com, and learn a little bit about some independent filmmakers from the New England area.
We will drop those links when we post this commentary. So for listeners, you can, as you grab our track, also check out Chris's links and his also many other projects he's working on. Also the one with me and him.
Yes, again, Goth Girl Horror is covering Hack / versus Chaos. So,
Zach, any last thoughts?
No, I think that'll do it for this month's commentary, and then we will be back next month with our commentary, and then head over to the site for all of our usual news, reviews, trailers, regular podcasts, all that stuff. And yeah, so for Chris, I am Zach, and we will see you next time.
For more Everything Action, head to www.everythingaction.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @EVAction, on Facebook by searching for Everything Action, and follow us on Instagram @everything.action. You can also subscribe and get more episodes on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.